Gartner report came out recently, and once again, BMC Remedy is one of the leaders in the Gartner Magic Quadrant. And we just wanted to walk through why that is, or at least some of the reasons why that is. There's too many to really go into, but we do like to talk about the main ones. And one reason is something, it's more a description than what we're showing you. And it's really around the flexibility. One of the cool things about Remedy is it's the same product, whether it's on the premise or in the cloud. So that's one of the first flexibilities, right? You can decide you want to host it on premise, do your stuff there. You can say, no, you want to host it in the BMC data centers, let them maintain the data center in your environment. Either way, it's the exact same product. Another way flexibility comes in is the licensing. So Remedy has something we used to call a fixed versus float. Industry tends to say more named versus concurrent. So basically, everybody can get a license. That's the named model. They get a license. They're always able to go in. They're always able to do things. But we also offer the concurrent licensing. So if you have people that don't go in the solution all that often, maybe they're managers who just go in to run reports and check the ticket queues now and again, or maybe they are people who work on projects a few days of the week, on the help desk the other 2 days of the week, or maybe it's a follow the sun shift model. You can use concurrent licensing where multiple people share a license. So maybe you buy 5 licenses, concurrent licenses. Those support 15 people, 20 people. When they come in, they use the license to do what they need to do. But that way, you're not dedicating a whole license to somebody who's not in the solution all that often. That happens a lot, too, with people who do tasks that are associated to changes. They maybe aren't in the system as often. Those are a couple key flexibility points that we wanted to mention. This third point, we don't really talk about enough. It's hybrid deployment. And we're going to see, my guess is, this is a future talk, we're going to see more of this. But recently, BMC has started allowing customers to do digital workplace in the cloud, while their Remedy ITSM, the incident problem change release, et cetera, and their Smart IT, which is the backend system for support analysts, those are all on-premise. So your digital workplace that your end users are coming into that holds your unified service catalog, which we're going to talk about more in just a minute, that's out there in the cloud and makes connections easy. You're going to use Innovation Studio to go ahead and do connections to other kinds of cloud apps as well as on-premise apps. Digital workplace can be in the cloud while the rest of it is on-premise. That gives you a kind of exciting deployment option, and that's what we see in the top picture over on the right. Gives you just another way of looking at things, how to slice and dice, how to connect. Especially if you have people around the world, that might be a really good way to go for that digital workplace area, which is the end user facing application. And the final one has been around for a while, and again, I don't know if we talk about this enough, hub and spoke. This is really around data. The idea being that if you have data requirements for your country, you can have a hub solution in one country, spoke solutions in the other countries, and the only data that's brought into the hub is the non-sensitive data. So you're working in the hub, working on the tickets, or you're seeing the data consolidated, but the sensitive data, the data that needs to remain in the country of origin, stays in the country of origin. That is available from Remedy. It's been available for multiple versions now. If that's something that's of interest, that's another way to deploy as well. So hub and spoke. There are probably other flexibility options I just haven't thought of today, but those are some of the ones that I wanted to mention as one of the key things why Remedy has been able to be used in so many different customers in so many different environments. And I just realized I was so enthusiastic about plunging into this, I forgot to mention we do have a Q&A window. So if you have questions as I go along, please do put them in the Q&A window, and we'll go ahead and check that. Digital workspace. I already mentioned it on the other slide in terms of deployment options, but did want to mention this as a unique feature within Remedy. And this one we are going to go ahead and show. So digital workspace is for your end users to come into a unified catalog. What do I mean by that? When I come into here, I don't have to just put tickets into Remedy. I could go ahead and maybe I have a JIRA system that I'm going to put out tickets, and I don't have that in this one, but maybe I'm going to put tickets into my JIRA system. I could have a service out here where I put in what software enhancement I want, and it actually goes to my JIRA system, not into Remedy. I could have things like creating a Office 365 user account. So if I go ahead and request that, this is going to go ahead and create an account in Office 365. It's not strictly about creating Remedy tickets anymore. It's about making a unified catalog. People can come in, They can make whatever requests they need, and it can go to the right back-end provisioning session or application, whatever it's going to be. So whether you're doing a standard ticket like report an issue, whether you're doing something that's going to go to your healthcare system, change 401k, maybe that's even going to an external provider, or if it's just your standard type things, you absolutely can do it within the digital workplace. The other thing, of course, around digital workplace is it was built with a mobile-first design. So if I go and look at my mobile app, I can see it on my iPad here. I've got Digital Workplace Mobile, where I can go ahead and request things, post things, do my appointments, etc. So mobile-first design, apps are available for iOS or Android. You can do it through web browsers and other OSs. So again, a key advantage, one of the reasons Remedy is leading on that Gartner Quadrant is the digital workplace. Now I'm going to sound like a TV commercial because I'm going to say, wait, that's not all. The other thing you could do around the digital workplace is managing location issues. So not just about stuff, requesting stuff, but it's also about, hey, I'm going to go visit BMC. I got to go to their executive briefing center. I haven't been there in a while, so let me go ahead and see what that floor map looks like. I go ahead and look at my executive briefing center. I'm seeing my floor map. Great. But now when I actually get to the briefing center and I'm in my conference room, maybe I'm going to Colorado here, well, maybe something's wrong. Maybe it's too hot, too cold, whatever. I don't know who to contact in BMC, but I can point my mobile device at a QSR code that's on the room. It brings me to my Colorado room, and I can put in a ticket here about adjusting the temperature. Goes ahead and submits a request, gets routed to the right person, the right kinds of things happen. Somebody comes in and adjusts our room temperature. So it's really giving a lot of power and convenience into the hands of end users where they don't have to know the company inside and out to know what kinds of things are going on. It could even be that I'm looking for directions. Somebody could have put directions here on this comment about, maybe the IT calls me and tells me how to adjust temperature. So I can say to adjust temperature, do XYZ, and now that note's going to be available. So the next person who comes into that room, comes to here, will see, here's how I'm going to go ahead and adjust the temperatures in Colorado. So now we're crowdsourcing, we're moving it to tier 0, we're doing all those things that let people do what they want to do and only come to IT with the things they can't do for themselves. So digital workplace, huge advantage to BMC Remedy. And again, it does connect to other service catalogs, not just into the Remedy ones. Okay, what's the third thing I wanted to hit? Smart IT. I have referenced this a couple times as well. So I don't know how familiar everybody is with it, but Smart IT is the service agents interface. So let me go ahead and pull up my Smart IT. And here is my universal client where I'm going ahead and sitting in my Smart IT, and I'm looking at things from various ways. I can look at my ticket console, see all my tickets, see what kinds of things are going on. And again, mobile first approach, where BMC did go ahead and make sure that this was going to be just as easy to use on the mobile client as well as in the desktop client or on the web browser. I don't want to just look at change requests. I can go ahead and say I want to look at all open incidents or problems. Go ahead and switch that around. I've got a new view. BMC started this with what's called Smart Recorder. They were very interested in improving the user experience. So they started with Smart Recorder to say, hey, can we make it easier for people to just go ahead and put in tickets? So Mary Mann is calling in. She's trying to get to the employee benefits URL. So we can start typing in. She wants the employee benefits URL. And now I have a lot of information at my fingertips. I have that Mary's a VIP. I know what asset is associated with Mary. I know her recently opened tickets as well as her resolved tickets. Over here, I can see there aren't any outages against the employee benefit system, so that's a good thing. I can see there's a template around here, as well as possible related knowledge articles. I didn't have to do a lot of clicking. I didn't have to open up other forms. I just come in, I do confirm and save, and this ticket is done because that template took it all the way to completion. So very easy to go ahead and take tickets, and that's where BMC started. BMC has been doing agile development around Smart IT. So it's coming out, they're coming out with a new version roughly every 3 months. That adds in functionality. We're on version, I want to say 1.6. So we've got personas for incident, we've got personas for problem, change, and release. We'll be seeing a little bit of change in a little bit, but we've got a lot of personas out here, a lot of things I can do out here, as well as some things around knowledge and knowledge consortium standards. We're going to be looking at that as well. So robust application, easy to use, mobile or through the web page, has all the power of Remedy in the back end, but allows your support analysts to come in and do what they need to do very easily. Like I said, we're going to see a little bit more about this as we hit some of the other things, but Smart IT is a key differentiator for Remedy and has really revamped things out there, and people really like this interface. We're still getting user experience people out there. We're still getting feedback from clients, and because we can do updates every 3 months, a lot of those suggestions do get incorporated in. Little click through Smart IT, but like I said, we're going to be back to visiting it in just a little bit. But Smart IT, think the back-end people being able to work their tickets that are assigned to them and do it mobile or on their desktop, laptop. Okay, knowledge-centered support, KCS. This is a little bit different. This is something that was recently added. Remedy has always had a knowledge base, right? We've had knowledge base for ages. Went through various iterations. It became an AR-supported app, and we had stuff in there. You could have approval processes, and you could publish it and things. But out there, just like there's ITIL, there is KCS, knowledge-centered support, which is a set of standards around managing knowledge. So KCS, knowledge-centered support, is like ITIL for the knowledge side. It's really trying to get the best practices in the knowledge work going, just like we do over on the ITIL world. So within the Smart IT again, I can go to my Knowledge Console. I made the right drop down here. Again, in Smart IT, we have the Ticket Console, which has everything. Changes, work orders, tasks, etc. We have the Asset Console focused on CMDB, but the Knowledge Console is focused in on knowledge. If I pick one of these articles, maybe how to fix Windows 10 freezing issues, I get this Perform Assessment. That's around that KCS, knowledge-centered support. Let me assess how good this article is. So I want to look through it, a very exciting video here. And I've got some quality assessment questions over here on the right. Article quality assessments, which end up giving a score. And these, of course, are configurable. They're configurable by category or organization, basically. So you can have different things for different kinds of departments. Is it a duplicate? Well, let me go ahead and check and see if there are other things out here that look like this one. Doesn't look like it, so I'll go ahead and hit back. Is the article title relevant? Sure. Statements incomplete. I think they're a little incomplete. Problem not understandable. No, that's pretty understandable, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then finally, did we check the metadata? This is going to be things like, do we publish it to external audiences? Who's the author? Whose companies? If I like it, great. Yeah, it is set correctly. If not, if I think there's an error, say no, and I could probably send this back through the authoring process in that case. I think it's good. So I can go ahead and do these assessments of the knowledge articles, and now we're really finding out how good our knowledge articles are. Of course, we always track how often they're used, how often they're viewed. That's another assessment of it. But just by being able to do some assessments directly against the articles, we get some really good information too. Of course, that's not all there is to KCS. If I come here to the More and I go to Knowledge, I'm going to see some other things I can do out here. I can have a knowledge team. So I have a role in the system of knowledge coach, and I have a knowledge team that I can be working with. We can see them all here, and I can do things with them. I won't read that off, let you guys read that through, but there's stuff I can do with my team. I can manage my team, so I can add and remove people from the team as appropriate as they change roles, etc. Around here, over on the right, I can actually go ahead and manage our knowledge base, which is basically creating articles and those kinds of things. And here's where I configure those assessment questions, the quality index questions. So we can see that there's some sample sets out here. There's a default set. I can go ahead and edit one of these. I'm going to see the questions that are available here, and I can go ahead and have it multilingual. I can add questions, all those kinds of things as well. So this is where I'm going to manage what I'm doing around the knowledge area through this More Knowledge and manage those questions there. And more importantly, we do have a whole bunch of reports. So, and I don't have a lot of data in my system, so I'm not sure how many of these are going to actually give me great data. So I can go ahead and open a report, see what kinds of things are going on out there for this particular report. This is done in the Smart Reporting interface. And sure enough, I do have some knowledge status reports, so I can see what's in draft, what's in published approval, etc., and who's been doing what. So I can always get to those reports from within my knowledge area. I don't actually have to launch Smart Reporting. It launches it for me. So KCS standards, Knowledge Consortium standards, have been baked into the Smart IT and allows you to work on it. For those of you that are not yet using Smart IT, that are using the mid-tier screens, the KCS stuff is really in Smart IT. So as you upgrade, as you get to Smart IT, you're going to be able to take advantage of this and really start tying your support organization to the KCS standards. Again, Knowledge Consortium standards, some of you may be using those, some of you may not be, but they are a pretty cool piece of the Remedy product. Great question. There's a question around some of the BMC lingo. There's Digital Workplace Basic and Digital Workplace Advanced. And let me go back to Digital Workplace. We talked about this being the end user thing. You can still see it's branded MyIT, which was the old name. So MyIT used to have MyIT Basic, MyIT Advanced, and there was a Service Broker Edition. MyIT Basic includes being able to create tickets and see the knowledge articles and do approvals. Other things are in the Advanced. Service Broker Edition was the consolidated catalog. Service Broker is how you were able to, within this interface, put tickets out to Jira, put tickets out to the 365 account we saw earlier, etc. So Service Broker was all that. So BMC used to have three things. So it was MyIT, MyIT Advanced, and Service Broker Edition. What they've done is they've combined those into Digital Workplace. Digital Workplace Basic is basically the old MyIT Basic, as a questioner mentioned. And then Digital Workplace Advanced includes the MyIT Advanced as well as the Service Broker, all bundled together. So simplifying, just breaking it down into two instead of three, and that's what Digital Workplace terminology came around. It's a great question. We throw out this BMC terminology, and we don't always explain it. So if you're used to the old MyIT type lingo, MyIT Basic, think Digital Workplace Basic. MyIT Advanced, think that that's now included in Digital Workspace Advanced, along with the Service Broker Edition. Great question. Okay, I think I hammered Knowledge Center support into the ground. Change management power with BMC Discovery. I know that's a long sentence, and again, BMC terminology. BMC Discovery is used to be called Atrium Discovery and Dependency Mapping. It is BMC's solution really focused in on the data center, finding everything that's out there. Finding your servers, finding the applications running on those servers, seeing how they talk to each other across the network. If you haven't seen BMC Discovery before, it's pretty cool. So here's an example of a map in BMC Discovery. I've got some Atrium CMDB boxes here. I've got focused in on Remedy. I've got CMDB Integrator running here. I can choose what I want to see here. Let me say focus. If I only want to look at infrastructure, it's going to make me log in again. If I want to focus in on infrastructure, if I want to do other kinds of things, I can absolutely do that. So a lot of capabilities in here to dive in and look exactly what you want to do. So now I'm just looking at the infrastructure. I'm not looking at the software. I can see the IP addresses, how things are hanging out there. And again, if I wanted to focus back on software, I could go ahead and add that in as well. Huge amount of powers in Discovery, BMC Discovery, how it ties together, how you can do mappings, how you can do your models. So that's great, but that's in BMC Discovery. Where we want to see it is in Remedy. And so there's an integration between BMC Discovery and Remedy Change Management, so you can leverage the information that BMC Discovery has in the change world. Why do we want to do that? Because we want to know if I'm working on a change, remember that initial model we saw, I want to know what I'm impacting. BMC Discovery finds all those impact relationships. Not only discovers stuff, it finds out how they're related to each other. Well, if I'm working a change, I need to know how things are related together. So this is a change I created earlier for my billing system, my billing service and application server, where I said just do an impact analysis. And what that's doing is it's using the information from ADDM to build this picture. And it's saying when I bring down my application server, Here's the things I'm impacting. Everything I expect, of course, around billing service, but somebody put in sonogram imaging service on this particular server. So because of that, I'm also going to impact that service. And that's the power of BMC Discovery. Things change. We're a widely varying world out there. People are always loading stuff on. They're moving VMs around. Capacity management's doing stuff. Everything's moving every which way all the time. Discovery keeps it up to date, gets it into the Remedy CMDB. So now I can see this in my change world and see what's impacted. And I can go ahead and relate everything to my change request. So now my change approvers know about it. So linking the two together gives you huge power on the change management side, because now you know exactly what kinds of things you're going to be impacting. And that's, again, a very unique quality within this. By combining BMC Discovery together with the BMC Change Management, you're going to be able to do those impact analysis. Your approvers are going to know what's going on, and there will hopefully be no surprises. I should probably mention, if you haven't seen it lately, is that the BMC's Discovery does now discover cloud instances. So you can hook this now and looking at your cloud instances. I believe it's AWS and Azure right now. But it's not just about discovering what's in your environment. It's discovering your boxes out in the cloud as well and pulling them together so you can have models tied together wherever they are. So that's a huge advantage to BMC Discovery, something you may want to look at if you're moving a lot to cloud services. And once they're modeled in here, then they can go ahead and be pulled into change management, and you can use that data as you're driving your change request. So again, another great power of using BMC Remedy, one of the reasons we're so high on that quadrant. Okay, reason number 6, smart reporting. So starting in 9.x with the ITSM applications, you now have access to smart reporting, which is based upon a technology called Yellowfin. Yellow like the color, fin like the fish. Gives us more powerful reporting than we've ever had in the Remedy systems before, tied in tightly. So once again, let me go back to my Smart IT. Right here, I've got the reports link here. I can go ahead and bring up my smart reporting here and start working with it. Bunch of dashboards out of the box. I like looking at the incident dashboard because to me this shows some of the power of the smart reporting. So I'm looking here. I've got my incident analysis by support hierarchy. Okay. If I click on this, it's going to go down a level. It's now showing me not just company, but by organization, Calbro and IT support. And what you're noticing is other graphs are adjusting at the same time. So let me go ahead and drill down into IT support. And now I've got my support groups, change management, line support, et cetera, and highlight, see what things are going on. And again, things are adjusting. If I hit it one more time, I'm going to go ahead and see it by individual. So I really like that ability to drive down deep and also to see other charts and how they're changing around as well. So some nice things around there. One of the things I want to mention around this submission trend is I can go ahead and drag it and really narrow it down and focus in on a particular area if I want to go ahead and look at specifically what's going on here. At 104 incidents on this particular date, they spiked for some reason. I may want to go in and start driving down and see what's going on there. So this dashboard to me gives a nice idea of the variety of dashboards and reports that you can do out here without me having to create a whole lot. So dashboards are available, and of course there are a ton of reports out of the box. But if I go to create one, which is of course a question everybody has, and we'll go ahead and do a really easy report because those are the only kind of reports I can do. I'm not a smart reporting expert, but even I can get data out of the system. One of the things I like about smart reporting is the data views are all set up understanding relationships. So if I'm going to go ahead and I want to see maybe the incidents and who worked on them, which support groups they went to, well, the assignment logs are in a subtable of incident. So if I want to go ahead and find those, I need to come to my assignment logs and pull them over. In the old days of Remedy World, or back a ways, you need to combine the tables within Remedy and then report on them. Well, the data views are taking care of that now. So if I have one ticket that went across groups or people, I can see that. I don't know if you can see it through this WebEx. It's not always easy to see. But this incident 5380 was in help desk support and then went to service desk. So now I'm seeing multiple records from assignment log within here. If I don't really want my incident number being repeated like that, I can go ahead and edit the formatting. I can eliminate dupes. I'm going to go ahead and exit out of there. The duplicates are going to be. And now it's a little bit clearer which ones had duplicate assignments, or transfers of assignments, I should say, as they got moved along. So that's one of the nice things. The data views are set up for you. The relationships are understood. All the kind of common relationships we're going to go ahead and see. But, of course, that's not all we want to do in here. We want to do some other things as well. So I'm actually going to remove these. They're on my report here. Now maybe I want to do a report around status. So let me go ahead and do that. I love the way it builds a report as you go, so you can really see what kinds of things are going on. But in this case, I want to look at statuses. I want status, and I want status, or SLM status. And then maybe I want to do this by assignee group. I want to know which of my groups are meeting their SLAs, right? That's something we always want to know. So by assign group, change management, I can see whether they're meeting or not meeting. It might be useful to know how many of those. I need one more variable over here. So I can see that for change management, they were within the service target 15 times for each one, and so on. So you're getting your report as you're going, which makes it much easier to create the report rather than kind of waiting to the end and seeing what it looks like. But I can go ahead and format this again if I don't like the full, that's kind of a long, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Don't need to round up or anything like that. That one works. I can do some calculations and other things if I need to. You can see here's where I can filter. So if I only cared maybe about certain groups, I could go ahead and filter there. Maybe I only cared about open statuses or closed statuses. I could filter by statuses. Not going to worry about that today, because the real reason I'm building this report is to show you what you can do with charts. So if I'm happy with my report, I'm ready to go to charts. And one of the things we can do here is we can do multiple charts per report. So if I want SLM status and how many incidents are in each one, we can keep adding here and see if the report makes any sense. It's automatically suggesting what it thinks the best chart will be, which is good for people like me. For people like you that are better at this, you can absolutely select other kinds of chart types. Maybe a stacked bar is actually something that might work pretty well on this one. Didn't do what I wanted it to do, so we'll go back to column, and I'm not sure what it's doing to me now. Oh, it removed my assigned group, so that's why. That's why I went back to there. I mentioned this is, you probably aren't going to hire me to do your reporting. But you can see pretty quickly, you can play around with the charts. You can do the different vertical columns. You can auto chart. Let's go back to auto chart and let it do what it does best. But then I can add another chart. I can come down here to the bottom right, add another chart. That was SLM status, and now I want to do overall status. So again, pretty easy to go ahead and do. It's going to go ahead and select a chart for me, and now I have two charts in the same thing. I'm like, well, you know what? I really want a bar chart. I want the other kind of chart. Let's go ahead and bring a assign group down here. Hopefully I haven't totally ruined this, and now we've got a different kind of bar chart going. So I can have multiple charts per report instead of needing to create a report for every chart I want to do. I'll put this. I can go ahead and drag those charts onto here, have them available, and do whatever I want to do with them. Whoops, come back. Drag it, size it. And all of you out there who are better at reporting can laugh at me, but this is kind of the idea. So having some fun here. I'm not quite sure what I did on that one. It normally does show up, but I did something weird today, so I didn't do that. So that's okay. I could always just abandon it all and start all over again. But smart reporting is much smarter than I am. There's a lot of things you can do with it. We have included a lot of out-of-the-box reports because I'm sure you have plenty of users that don't want to create reports. They just want to run the existing ones. When I do run a report or I save a report, I can go ahead and schedule it to run overnight, get it emailed out to people, do things like that as well. The other thing that smart reporting has that we don't always talk about, or I don't always talk about just because it's me, is the social aspect. You can have it, you actually have your own, I don't know what to call this, timeline. So as you've looked through things, they're going to start showing up here. So I've got a timeline, what me as Alan has looked at over time. People can share things to my timeline. So if somebody else created a report they wanted Alan to see, they could go ahead and push it to my timeline. I can go ahead, and if I know I looked at that report yesterday, but I can't remember what it was now, I can go ahead and come back. Oh, Mary replied on a particular report. So I can go ahead and bring this one up and start looking at the comments. And I can see that I said I wanted to talk about this. Mary Mann says, sure, give us a call in 1 hour. I didn't call her back on 2016. Can I call you now? And so Mary and I are now commenting on this report, communicating with each other within the report, and it's going to be kept in the report history. Hopefully when I call her, we go ahead and keep our notes on here so other people know what this spike was all about. So you have communication around the reports, you have the timeline, social aspects, there's actually an inbox. So that's part of smart reporting as well. I don't tend to use this as much. I have enough inboxes in my life, so I tend not to use this one quite as much as people who are heavy into reporting would do. But just know that that is the idea as well, that you can be out here and you can be doing some social stuff. Social stuff, that's my new technical term. So whether you're just heavy diving into reports, whether you're looking through your timeline, whether you're browsing existing reports, smart reporting is a really powerful tool. I think you're going to like it. So once you move to ITSM 9.x, you're going to have access to the smart reporting. If you aren't on 9.x yet, feel free to call RightStar. We can help you get there. I think those were what I wanted to talk about in terms of the 6 things that I thought were reasons why Remedy ends up on Gartner's Magic Quadrant so often.